Try again putting on the mic. And getting things all sorted out here. Pop out. And we want that on the live chat. Live cha. Oh dear, my little friend, how goes the life with you? Like to see when you dance for me. Yes, I know I'm not muted right now. It's part of the thing. So we are starting real soon. We need synthetic fabrics. Oh, we need to try and get this thing started now. So, anyways. Hello, everyone. Got the destination locked in. We are going to be doing a bit of a... I'll be honest. This is going to suck. This is going to suck a lot. Let's not beat around the bush. This is not going to be a fun live stream. And that is why I am asking you, those of you who are here, of course, and watching, perhaps, to help me a little bit with a little bit of company. I would appreciate it very much if I can receive a little bit of company to do these things. I'm not the biggest fan of mindless trade hunting. Will I be able to transfer things there? No, let's just go. We are, of course, going to be doing what we're going to be doing today is community goal, hauling, perhaps also shooting on the occasional pirate that comes along our way, tries to take cargo. It is also going to be a good way to just let my notoriety cool down. Though I doubt it's anytime soon going to be 0. Due to the fact of just how much of the crime things I'm doing for power play. And also, like, I see this week as there's actually a commit crimes in one of the systems I previously hit as one of my weekly goals. Wonderful. That's nice. So we're going to be going back there and doing more of that killing thing later, some other time. Maybe Monday. Or Sunday. We'll have to see. Yeah, so any help is appreciated to help keep me company whilst I am doing this, because as I stated, it's not the most exciting of trading. I have to admit, I actually quite enjoy a bit of trading, but more like mission trading. You grab a whole bunch of source and return missions, and you find out where stations are that have the material and stuff that you need, and you bring it back and whatnot. And if you've got a good reputation with a faction, they'll actually pay quite a lot of money, and it's a lot faster, in my opinion, than just hauling from A to B repeatedly until you die of boredom. So I do find myself wondering And yeah, so I will have a call out to anyone and everyone that watches to give it a little shout, whatnot, the tiniest bit of, or just maybe your company in this miserable time. It'd be appreciated. I did notice, of course, there was quite a bit of riling up about the whole community call in general. I do want to participate in it overall because of the item that is going to be a reward there, and I also want to try and get to 75% bracket so that I can actually get on the reward twice, because it is actually an item that I kind of want to use. So the item in the community goal, of course, is a power distributor, several of them. There's a 6, a 4, and a 3. A class, and then 4 free D class. And I'm trying to remember this all right off the top of my head. I can't remember the exact number of what percentage of the engineering they have done for it. Because they did actually mention... My apologies there. My apologies again. They did actually mention that where the... Excuse me again. Where was I? Ah, yes. So we're in a bit of a situation where they actually mentioned what the stats were, but I don't quite remember it off my top of my head. But the stats is, of course, quite interesting because it is a double-engineered power distributor that is systems and engines focused. Now that does, of course, mean that's sort of like a double negative on the the weapons distributor. But actually, I do think it's going to be incredibly useful for something like my Python Mark II, because I do generally like the look of the ship, and it definitely handles a lot better than, say, for example, the Third Lance. It's more enjoyable to handle, but I just can't get the Python Mark II to work. I did actually make a bit of a rant about this on the Elite Dangerous forums, and I explained why I'm actually quite excited for this module, because essentially, at the end of the day, excuse me there. I'm so sorry, everyone. One of the things I have struggled with the Python Mark II is it just doesn't have the durability or survivability I want. So having something like that power distributor that gives engines and systems, yes, it's going to cut away from the power capacity of the weapons, but at the same time, you get back on a large amount on the power distributor for systems and engines. And which is quite important for the type of build I was using there in the Python. And the things I want to do with the Python Mark II is because I can't do anything like a heavy weapons build or something like that because the power distributor is just too small. So it has to be efficient weapons, and its internal hull space is incredibly limited, so I can't really do hull tanking, and its hull is, well, somewhat decent. It's still not great. It's definitely an interceptor, not a main battle tank, or main battleship if you want, but it's not like a battleship, but it's a main battle tank thing. But it's an interceptor. That is an interceptor and not a actual properly. So it is kind of important to note that, because and we're actually able to get those things in. I mean, I'm here. I might as well do this. Because one of the things you need to notice is that I do have a bit of an issue with Python Mark 2's survivability. So getting the extra energy, of course, means more boosting, and of course more boosting, of course, means more maneuverability. More maneuverability, of course, with the shields being rigged to what's going to be eating a lot of power distributor power. And I know people, of course, say, but you've got when you're actually doing things, and you're in combat and whatnot, the power distributor with 4 pips gives enough energy to fully regenerate a bi-weave as fast as you need. But the truth is, it barely does with a size 6 power distributor. And the big issue is that, of course, it needs to have 4 pips in the power distributor. But you don't have that in the power distributor. You just don't. Because, hello, you can't have 4 pips in systems and weapons and engines. It's just not possible.
Docking procedure complete. Systems offline. Enjoy your stay, Commander. Your comfort is our top priority.
Excuse me. Ah, shit. Synthetic fabrics are slow. Oh. Let's fill up the hole.
Cargo hold at maximum capacity.
There's plenty of supply here. So what? And people do tend to be on and off about don't. It really does fascinate me how many people sit on the Elite Dangerous forums who honestly just don't play the game. I genuinely start thinking that like most of them just don't play the game with the way they comment. Half of them, they are probably just only there to try and sell AI art, and the other half are there to troll. Which is incredibly important to note, because Elite Dangerous developers need to gain feedback, and they're not interested in, they're not quite as attentive to other forms of feedback or commentary. Unless there's a very popular YouTuber screaming about how she hates Witcherly, and then goes and pisses and shits herself. You won't get coverage on things. You don't get the feedback that is actually matters and actually will make things better. You just get a bunch of trolls trolling each other and shitting and pissing on something. So, excuse me, I'm off my language, but that's just how it is. And at the end of the day, it's just like, even a mod, even if it's quite unique, it's still quite nice. It is something a little bit quite different, because any existing sort of metrics for engineering, there is not really a system where you can heavily gimp your weapons capacitor for systems and engines. And honestly, actually, when you are exploring, having a good large capacitor for systems and engines is actually quite good. Because if you're flying an exploration ship and you like to do hooning, you might want to actually have a distributor with a decent amount of system capacity, because you want your shield to be able to tank the hit when you slam into a wall, and then you want your shield to be able to recover. But if your shield capacity is very low, and the regen is also very low, your regeneration rate for your shields is going to be incredibly low as well, which is going to spoil the fun. So if you're hooning or doing a lot of canyon running, in Elite Dangerous, so as an explorer, it's actually very useful. And as someone, I don't do much exploring, but, you know, occasionally when you're actually exploring, you like to fly around, check things out, land on planets, and having shields is important. Unless you're crazy, and like me, and sometimes just go flying out in a shieldless beluga and try to land on a planet like that without getting any damage. That's a bit of a challenge as well. Not as difficult as you might think, because it is still possible. As long as you're not an idiot and try and land on the side of a canyon cliff. So all in all, it is actually sort of a somewhat novel, yet could also be incredibly useful item. It's not the be-all and end-all of the world. Like, I do think, is because we could have used it like something like, for example, the double-engineered power plants. That would have been actually a lot more useful. Because I'm a fervent believer that those double-engineered power plants that were released in previous days was actually incredibly useful for breathing life into smaller ships, because they were size 3, 4, and 5. That incredibly helped with smaller ships, combat ships especially, with giving them the extra grunt of power that they might need to actually keep up with high power demand, especially with some certain weapons that had been released in recent years. That is more power demanding. Now, if you do excuse me for a second, I need to check here. Which is the port that I'm delivering here to? Power socks, yes. And because as those double engineered power plants are so great and novel, I even made a huge post like it would be nice to see those things come back, because they breathe a lot of life into smaller ships. But what do people do? No, they're just going Lamau. Just fly further lance 24/7 with 6,000 shield boosters, and I just fall asleep from boredom and become narcoleptic. So yeah, it's just fascinating how. But then again, it's like trying to herd it's like trying to explain physics to a herd of sheep that just endlessly bleat and bite each other's necks open to suck on the blood of their fellow sheep. If you wanted to I need to make a character, a persona of the human race, I would make a sheep with 3 heads, all 3 heads constantly chewing each other's faces and cheeks off, while stamping out any and all fertile ground around it, so that it may have an excuse to have to eat itself before actually eating anything else. That is the character, the persona, the fursona, some people might want to say, of humanity. But mayhaps a bit something more positive, because that is quite a grisly image that I just may have put in some people's minds. So maybe a something a bit more safe for work, maybe. So there is, of course, like a couple of things that we need to discuss. Actually, because, you know, this is actually going to turn into a bit of a podcast at this rate. Especially with the fact that I'm just flying trading. One of the things that I've been actually sort of doing about is like trying to balance, of course, streaming here and also continuing with my 3D modeling. One of the things that has been a bit of a little niggling thing of course, is that I have actually started playing Kenshi in my spare time, and I've generally quite like the game. It's a little game where a little RPG game. You get a little squad of players. It's a little tactical RPG game. You play around. You've got little people, samurais, little peasants that run around through a deserted wasteland. It's actually quite a fun, enjoyable game. And I also got to, of course, do my 3D modeling and the hair and whatnot. And current things I'm trying to wiggle my way through is, of course, I've got to 3D model a human being. I've got another 2 owls I need to 3D model. There's another snake character I want to model. There is, of course, a shark species race that I want to 3D model. There's another 1, 2, 3 humans that I need to 3D model as well. And I'm trying to think off the top of my head here. There's a lot of things I need to get to. One of the things I would definitely want to see about is getting done with a whole bunch of just little miscellaneous parts for making scenes. To make things a bit more lively for the 3D modeling and the renderings I do. And I want to actually make a bit of a comic, a series of comic strips with a bit of a story, explaining the world that these characters that I've created live in. Of course, I do want to make sure I get a good bank of props and whatnot to get going with that. In order to be able to properly set scenes, have things to go, and be able to pump those out in regular intervals. There's also, if anyone does follow me on Blue Sky and knows what my 3D modeling is like, hey ho, hi, the little PNG tuber in the bottom left corner, that is my work. It's 100% my work. I know it's an incredibly ridiculous crown I have, and shoulder plates, I know, but I love it. I had a lot of fun making and 3D modeling this extravagant, brilliant armor. And I just simply love it. It's one of those things, of course, where you... And I do find I do quite enjoy live streaming. The little pastime thing that, of course, will help me, like, relax, and also, hopefully, mayhaps in some time in future, if we get enough subscribers and likes and views and whatnot, and we can get that YouTube ad revenue on the posted VODs and all those things. Because once I can get some of that in, of course, I can also help become self-sustainable, because unfortunately in this day and age things are kind of fucked up. I won't lie. Money is a problem, which is why I'm sort of like in the stage of like, well, I can't really get a stable job, so I need to try and find different ways of making income, 3D modeling, making some kind of comic strip, making a series of comics that I can, of course, say, hey, if you like the things, donate to me. Come watch look at my art on Blue Sky if you like it. There's, of course, a link, of course, that people can go to donate, to give a little penny in the pocket to help keep me going. And, of course, the same as well as here. If you like the live streams, like it, share it. If you can't give a coin here and there, the best thing you can do to actually help me is, of course, just share it. Of course, sharing it is illegal, so it's not pirate and download it. That's the wrong kind of sharing.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Excuse me. There's a long list of things that need to happen, unfortunately. A lot of things I need to actually do in Elite Dangerous as well. There's actually a little system that I want to colonize. I was actually thinking of, like, I'm gonna stay away from the whole colonization thing, because, let's be honest, it's not a beta, it's an alpha. This shit is, and also it's just not rewarding. Honestly, if I want to actually have a rewarding experience with building stations and claiming systems, I'd play X4 Foundations, because it has a much more better system for building stations. Stations that, of course, have an economy. But then again, X4 Foundation is a much better simulator than Elite Dangerous. I've actually started playing Elite Dangerous a lot less for trading and exploring, and more just for its combat. Because as a game where I can do one-on-one in inverted commas, because it's not really one-on-one that I play, where I'm just hunting a couple of pirates in a zone or whatnot, or running around on foot, killing people on foot. This is a very different type of game, whereas the combat and trading and empire management in X4 Foundations is a lot more diverse, interesting, evolved, and the simulation, especially with recently with X4 Foundations' introduction of a huge rework on its flight model, which I must say is incredibly nice because it's still if you actually think about it, it's not much has changed, but it feels better. Your strategies are mostly the same, but it feels better. And that, of course, gets us to a situation where of course you've got the where was of course with the X4's system is you can of course take systems, you can build an army, and stations need resources, and with X4 Foundations, the entire galaxy is properly simulated. Every time you see a battleship, a Terran Protectorate battleship, an Asgard class battleship, flying through space, you need to remember that there is a long line of trade ships that were hauling cargo from A to B. There is a long line of energy, solar power plants, and computronics stations and all kinds of things, and then mining ships that collected raw resources to be converted into those things, and then finally being built. There's a long, huge infrastructure that supports those battleships. And that's something we don't see in Elite Dangerous. That doesn't make Elite Dangerous bad, it's just out of date. It's an old game. And old games stick around. And old games stick around because they're good. Good games stick around. That's just the end of the story. It's a bit sad that Elite Dangerous has over time stagnated. Yes, but it's still decent core floating around there. The game definitely does age. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. People still fucking play Skyrim for some fucking reason. If you can sense, I've got a bit of hostility towards Skyrim. And don't even get me started on Oblivion. I actually wanted to check something about that Oblivion thing, because I heard something about that they're not allowing people to mod it. Which is odd, because I'm pretty sure there's nothing you can do to stop people modding games, because they'll find a way. You're not allowed to mod Elite Dangerous. Oh, because it's a multiplayer game. Yeah, but still people can find ways to do it. It can be multiplayer or single player and they've got no mod support, but someone finds a way. It doesn't take too much effort. Never underestimate someone with a bit of gumption. Excuse me about that, I was just... Whee. I mean, I'm passing through here, I might as well do this thing. Ah, for fuck's sake. Why is it's always such a bloody pain in the ass to try and get those things to line up? Oh well. Yeah. station building thing is just, you know, it might be the latest, greatest thing. Yeah, but it just doesn't feel great. It doesn't, it's not, Elite Dangerous Galaxy is not very well simulated. A game like X4, of course, you've got this very in-depth simulation, also with the new flight model and everything being quite well, politics and whatnot are being also quite a lot better. And the station building is just doesn't seem satisfying. But I still have found a system that I thought was quite cute, and I would like to make a little system there, just for the fun of it. Bring it in, get those things there, get those done. But of course, to get that, I need to plan a bunch of things and put a bunch of things together. And to do that, of course, I need to so one of the big issues, of course, with the location I spotted was, of course, that there is a long line of more stations that I would have to build in order to get there. Because it's quite infuriating that if we go by a straight line method, and if there was a system in between there, it would be just one system I would need to colonize, and then I would be there. But then I can hop over. But unfortunately, with how it is positioned on the galaxy, is that there is a very odd little bit of roundabout fuckery I have to do to get there, which is annoying. So. And of course, there's also the concept of that, while I'm sort of in the process of doing a lot of this power play stuff, so it would be annoying if, say, for example, I had made that little system my home, and then I don't know, let's say, Yuri Grom's Elite Dangerous supporters suddenly just come in and piss all over the place and make it their system. And then suddenly, if I need to go in there and do trading or whatnot, I have to remember, oh, I might be at risk of getting sniped by the power play faction. And if I have to go onto the surface elements and kill the very people that I've built a house for, paid to have a house built for, it's like, hey, I paid to have a surface medical port built on this planet, and I'm here now to shoot it to shit because I need to do power play here. That's gonna be kind of fucked up. Excuse the language, but that's just going to be flat out fucked up. There's no two ways around it. Well, what can you do? That's sort of like also like another thing that is sort of sorry about that.
Landing restraints retracted. You are reminded to observe
My apologies, I'm bleeding here.
the docking bay.
By what I mean is, it's just to clarify, it's like I've got a scratch on my leg and it's bleeding. Hey, damn it. Oh, that could be worse. Could be bleeding out of my neck. Could also be better. I could be not bleeding so much. Come on, you fat-ass ship. Get out of here. And it is sort of a bit of a thing, is like, it's just not as fun as one might hope. For those, of course, of you who are, of course, joining us here midway through the stream, and of course those who are watching in the future in the VOD, because I will be keeping the VODs on my channel,
You are now leaving the control.
we are doing a bit of trading, cargo hauling for the community goal, because I want to get the special double engineered modules from the community goal that's what we're currently running. And hello, the person that is, of course, chatting here, Jasper Lit. Nice Corvette. Thank you very much. I grinded it myself. Terrible joke. And of course, we're doing this as a community goal because I want to get those modules. I don't really care about the factions there. And of course, it is a bit of a boring trek to go backwards and forwards. So it is very nice to be able to have people to chat with. Alternatively, I'm just going to be rambling on, like as if this is a podcast, as I have. It's ultimately we are also in a situation where not much really happens when you do trading, unfortunately. Because unless you have the occasional bit of someone run in and you can, of course, shoot them to pieces. Which is the advantage of why I use a Corvette to do trading, because ultimately it allows me to, at the moment where I'm interdicted by a pirate and I need to swing around and shoot someone, I can do so. I don't have to run. I don't have to run because I've got 2 large cannons. I can just swing around and shoot them to hell. Of course, some people might argue that, of course, it's a bit disadvantaged because you're not getting as much credits per hour and whatnot, or cargo hold. But at the same time, I care more about having fun in Elite Dangerous than actual things like blatant exploit grinding, as basically, or just AFK trading, sitting around with one screen on a Netflix series, doing whatever those AFK traders do with their hands. I don't know what they do. They probably just sit there with their hands up their asses and occasionally just click a button on their computer just to make the auto dock engage, or auto lift off and pick up the cargo, auto lift off, and just repeat and repeat, which is honestly boring. I don't want to do that. It just doesn't sound fun. Now, let's just double check, of course, I'm doing the right place. Bowerstocks Port. For the community, going to community, Jasper, as Jasper has just mentioned here in the chat, of course, Jasper, excuse me, sorry, I'm stuttering for a moment there. Mahon is, of course, in the lead, of course, and I have signed up for Mahon, of course. When they win, people who are supporters of Mahon, as of course, will get extra merits, and of course, they will get, anyone who is on the winning side will get a duplicate of all the modules, which actually has a bit of a implication, which is also part of the reason why Mahon is so far in the bloody lead, because despite everyone being like, it's a bit of a hit, it's a useless module, a lot of people want it because it's quite unique, it's quite interesting, and there's a lot of things you could do with it. There is a bit of a complication with that, of course, is that if you start doing these versus things, and there's 2 groups, and there's no... I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt my own thought here, just to reply here. Jasper, they specifically said there's not going to be you're not going to be able to add an experimental effect to it. They specifically said that on the forums. Yeah. It's a bit of a bummer, because I would have liked to actually add lightweight secondary modification on some of them, for the purpose of when I would use one of them for explorer ships. But I'm specifically looking at that 6A power distributor with the double engine power distributor for my Python Mark II. It would actually be a very useful thing to fit on that. I know it sounds odd, and I specifically said this on the forums as well. I know it sounds incredibly perverse to be using that kind of thing but there is actually a good reason for it. And I made a big post of it, and I also, earlier in the stream, did also ramble on about that already. But yeah, there is, of course, a big merit for having that like that. My apologies there. Bit of a cough. But the problem is when you trade these versus CGs, and it's both sides get the same module. That's great. Okay, fantastic. There's no bias to one side. But then suddenly when you go, okay, let's go and say, all right, okay, but just for one side to win, well, let the other side get double the rewards, and then suddenly things get skewed immediately, because the moment one side picks up in pace and wins on the one side, everyone's just going to go and just abandon the one side and go to the other side. Especially with the fact that Elite Dangerous has made the decision to Frontier Development made the decision to say, hey, if you sign up for one of the community goals, you can't sign up for the other one. Which is, okay, understandable change, but now you've got the system where everyone's now just sort of going to wait to see which ones are going ahead, join that one, and only grind for that one. It creates a bit of tension situation. Wait, what the fuck has happened here? What the fuck? I fucking filled up on cargo! Oh, great. I'm gonna have to check that in my video footage. What the fuck happened there? Was I too busy chatting to be able to notice that I didn't actually fill up my cargo hold? I specifically clicked on the stuff and said purchase. Fuck me. Oh well, I guess we're going back then. That's annoying. Fuck's sakes. And quite very embarrassing. I mean, but I swear I clicked the button. It's a bit odd. Ooh. I don't know, I'll have to rewatch the stream. I tend to also quite often rewatch these streams just to make sure that there's no audio issues. So I'll need to make sure for my head note. Why the hell did it not pick up the cargo? It's kind of a bit strange. Oh, I might not actually have enough fuel to get back. That's going to be spicy. I'll tell you what we can do. And dump those. Because while it won't increase, I'm not going to go into the galaxy map to just the range. It's of course the less weight, of course, lanes slightly better for fuel efficiency and better jumping. Where was I, of course, before I noticed that fucking snafu? Ah, yes, of course, the reward system that's a bit scuffed with Elite Dangerous of this community goal. It is. But it is a bit of an old issue with Elite Dangerous, of course, with everyone just having their own fucking opinion about what a community goal should be. And it just is always hit and miss. Especially when we consider the fact that they had originally mentioned that when they increased the prices for everything in the Ark shop and removed half the items from the Ark shops, they said, I was like, oh, don't worry, you'll be able to get the paint jobs and additional Arks as well. Oh, shit. This guy's actually clean. Ah, fuck it. I'm gonna kill this guy. Screw him.
Scan detected. Power plant capacity exceeded. Under attack.
Ah, shit. What? You've got to be fucking kidding me. What do you mean? Fuck. Oh, now it just doesn't want to do anything. Okay, so we're gonna go here now. fucking annoying. My day is thoroughly ruined.
Under attack.
Ah, today is just a bad day, I guess. And people wonder why I hate just mindless trading like this. And of course, this is of course down to a incredibly bullshit, dumb crime and punishment system that they had introduced. That is just honestly, oh, well, it's better than the previous crime and punishment system, but it's still fucking shit, and it's still heavily in need of a rework on that side as well. There's just so much in this game that needs a rework, but I think at the end of the day, why would you? It is an old game. But then why do people insist to use that argument? Because at the end of the day, if it's still being developed, it's still being asked for money, they should rework things. And granted, yeah, the Elite Dangerous team is in Frontier Development do really work to bring in improvements and fix things. It's just I wish they would actually hurry up and actually bring those improvements and fixes. Because at the current moment, they just seem to be ambling about collecting a paycheck. Well, let's be fair to them. A lot of the people who were interested only in collecting a paycheck and basically milking Frontier Development for a paycheck have been kicked out of the company. Because there was a whole thing about, well, how the original team was basically harassed out of the company, and they all just left because they couldn't take the harassments from the upper managements of Frontier Development and from the community, so they just left. Followed by being replaced by a whole bunch of quote-unquote major fans of the game, whose great claims on about how they'll be good for the game is they're massive fans of Elite Dangerous, as they fucking proceed to add no ships or anything. And the moment that manager got booted out, they immediately just announced, "Right, we're bringing 4 new ships this year." That happened last year. Wow, real fucking amazing. Yeah, and everyone fucking jerked off that manager as he was leaving the Frontier Development. He was like, "Oh, you did so much for the company." Yeah, the moment he fucking leaves, we get 4 new ships. I don't know. If you put 2 and 2 together, and you don't get 4, I don't think you can join in on this argument. Fuck me. The game does definitely need a lot of work. And we also got the frameshift overdrive system. That is a brilliant addition. It is something that, of course, I personally, of course, think. Oh, thank you very much for that, Jasper, for actually going back and checking for me there. You understand now why of course, you agree with me. Of course, the tracking back and forth is of course very annoying, especially when I have a bounty on my head and I can't pay it off because fuck me, I guess. Because they introduced a system that was like supposed to be, it's help prevent ganking, but it doesn't really do anything except annoy you, especially if you're not doing crimes 24/7. And you need to, well, do anything other than just doing crimes 24/7. Because if you're just doing crimes 24/7, it doesn't matter. If you're just ganking people 24/7, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't slow you down. It just makes it inconvenient for people who want to play the game. When they've got a crime on their head because they need to do something for power play or for a mission that they need to get some kind of commodity or special engineering engineering part for whatever, and now they've got this issue with, okay, I've got a bad fucking reputation hit and I can't do anything about it because I need to wait 10 hours for Minority 9 to fucking decay. But we won't see anything new to that because they're still working out the kinks with their bloody train smash of a released for the Odyssey is still being worked on, and the Train Smash that is Power Play 2 that still needs to be worked on, and the upcoming Train Smash of what's the new update being called? Vanguards? Something. The one about expanding on the player group stuff. But the problem is, Elite Dangerous' players are Elite Dangerous' player groups, a lot of them are incredibly predatory. And it doesn't matter how much you may improve those systems, but unfortunately, the Elite Dangerous, a lot of the player groups are incredibly predatory. And I noticed, like, in the recent years, as they introduced new groups, as they were introducing new ships and new players were coming back to the game, I noticed that a lot of new player groups started forming. And they were basically like, well, we're leaving previous player groups and whatnot, and we're all players, whatnot, making new player groups. And that's a definite sign of, like, well, of something that I've been fervently saying, is that Elite Dangerous is full of a lot of toxic people, and one of the biggest things that have driven people away from the game has been the toxic community. And as such, when they introduced new ships and new content coming back, and actually something other than just Thargoid hunting constantly happening, and that entire FOMO mess of the Thargoid Titans, having actual content happening and coming in meant that a lot of people were making new player groups, and all the player groups, of course, now losing members, because even though people are coming back, because people are tired of their shit, they're tired of their predatory practices, and basically just wanting players in their Discord so they can push their player faction on the map for them. Because, okay, let's just double check here. Synthetic fabrics. Full cargo hold. Jasper, you're currently the person chatting under there. We've got it here. We've got it here. Right. We're not going to make that bloody mistake again. Hey. Right, and they are quite predatory, because they will basically just want players to join their faction, and they were like, oh, hey, we welcome new players, let's help you get started with the game. Here's this guide that is out of date on how to grind to get to a cutter in 1 week, but it's out of date, so it doesn't work. We've got a fleet carrier, quickly jump on it, we're going to go you to the crystal shards. Crystal shards don't work anymore because Odyssey was added, and also crystal shards is actually a terrible way of getting raw materials. Oh, and then we're going to take you to James Crashite. What the fuck? Oh, I've got shit on the brain, I think. And for what? It's like, okay, well, are we going to start playing now? Yeah, we're going to play now. You've got a cutter, right? Yeah, okay. Now go into solo mode and do cargo hauling missions for our faction in this and this and this location. Do not do any for any other faction. Only our faction, so we can get our faction spread through the galaxy. And now with the station building things, like, oh, come build stations for us. Like, well, great. Okay. What are we going to be playing together? Are we going to have fun together? Are we going to socialize? No. If you're trying to socialize with these people, is that and it just raises a question of just why are these people here? And when you actually look into these older player groups, a lot of them weren't even. Some of these managers of player groups weren't even playing. I even actually once saw, and this is a real fucked up story, but I remember vividly a guy that was swearing that he had Elite Dangerous, was in the upper echelons of managing the server and managing the BGS organization of a player group, but the guy did not own Elite Dangerous. He did not have an account. He did not own the game. He never played it. But you know, fake it hard enough, you can get a high ranking management position in a Discord, and you can piss and shit on anyone you want in that Discord and harass them, sexually harass them even if you want to. And that's just the sort of thing that we have with Elite Dangerous as a community. And I'm glad that sort of like when people came back to the Elite Dangerous with the new ships being added, a lot of them said, right, we're making our own player groups. We're not joining the old ones. And we are also going to, a lot of them also just like me, I'm just playing solo. When I came back to Elite Dangerous, I fervently said, I'm not going in open. I would like to actually find a player group that's actually nice and fun to chat with. Maybe an occasional throw a bit shit with and whatnot, but honestly, if I ever do something like that, I might as well just host my own and invite people to come to my Discord who maybe watch my live streams. You know, come to my Discord, we can have a chat about Elite Dangerous or the weather or art or 3D modeling or 3D printing. I do quite love 3D printing. I'm a big fan of 3D printing. And we can have a fun time there and avoid a lot of the toxicity of the community, because of course my goal is with the game is just to have fun. I don't care about factions, I don't care about borders, and it would be a sort of an interesting thing to see what they bring with the Vanguard's update. What exactly is introduced? What is exactly not being introduced? Because they have been quite tight-lipped about it, and a lot of people have been speculating about what is and isn't going to be available there. Regardless of what they actually do with the oh, thank you very Jasper for I'll double checking, confirming that I've got it, got the mount. So like I don't know what the hell they're thinking about Vanguard and what exactly is going to be its purpose. Or is it going to replace squadrons? Is it going to be an addition to squadrons? Is it going to be additional BGS? Is it going to be tied with station building? What is it going to happen with that shit? And we don't know. It's just, it's going to be something with squadrons, and you're going to be able to do something with it. It raises a question of what exactly will happen. And now I wonder, of course, but because it would be nice if there was some kind of system, like I could say, hey, alright, you're a new player, right? My Vanguard squadron is in-game, here's his location. If you do a certain thing in-game for us, I can give you an item. I can give you a frameshift drive boost. I can give you a set of 1, 2, 5, 1 of each. And then you can use those to go travel faster to the Guardian home systems and actually get yourself the commodities and components to unlock it fully, so you can actually have it and purchase as many you need and for whatever sizes you want. And I could have a little bit of a thing to genuinely actually help people to get into the game, because to actually get them running. But unfortunately we don't know exactly what it is in the system, because they mentioned us a guild bank basically, and we're going to be able to put materials or credits and stuff in there. But they haven't actually given quite the details of what. Are we allowed to put engineered modules there? Are we allowed to put engineered ships in there? Are we allowed to put time-limited community goal modules in there? Because if there's a system in the new Vanguard system that says, okay, you can actually fly to your Vanguards and you can give a double-engineered railgun, which was a community goal item, which was actually a very... honestly, in a way, a bit of an overpowered item. And if that's a feature, and you can add it, the amount of cases of people's accounts being hacked and stolen is going to skyrocket, because people are going to hack those accounts, going to find ways to hijack them, and fly their ships over and take all their engineered modules, put it in their bank, then just throw them out again, and basically just steal the items. If you may happen to know about World of Warcraft and may have played it in ages ago, this was something that actually happened quite a lot in World of Warcraft. I was actually years and years and years ago. I really only played World of Warcraft for like 2 years, but I remember it was kind of sad, and as part of why I stopped playing World of Warcraft is that I was in a clan, in a guild, and then one day I was like, noticed like, oh, we're not out of the guild. And I used to chat a lot with the people, and I'm like, what the hell happened to? And I managed to get hold of someone of the other group, and they said, yeah, someone had hacked the owner's account, logged in, cleaned everything out of the guild bank, and sent it off to some account, put it all on auction, and we've never seen it. And they've deleted her account. They deleted the woman's account as a character and whatnot, so she couldn't get back in. And she was so demoralized about the whole thing that she never restarted the guild, and we were all sort of like scattered over again. And I really enjoyed that guild because they were all very friendly. It was a good friendly group, and it's just been torn apart. And if they add a system in Elite Dangerous, and let's be honest, Elite Dangerous' servers are not as secure as they might want you to believe. It will be we'll end up in a situation where there will be rampant hacking and like never before. But of course, you know, at least the game isn't stagnant, I guess. Because that was the big thing. I was like, why I stopped playing Elite Dangerous, because it was just so stagnant, and why I started playing other games. Let's see here. Sorry about this. Let me just land here. I was also checking the chat here. Jasper, thank you very much, of course, for chatting away here. It helps keep me company and keep me sanity whilst I do these trade missions. Well, not trade missions, but like trading trading in the community goal. Of course, I have the situation of these things where... Now, of course, where was I? We were talking about the Vanguards update. Because, of course, the game isn't stagnant. Yeah, I was talking about the game not being stagnant anymore. It was a big thing for me, and why I actually came back to the game, because, well, there's new things being added and whatnot. I, of course, must, of course, always admit that I have deleted my old save. And... why I'm sort of adamant about the double engineered power plants getting re-added, or the double engineered multi-cannon with phase sequence to be re-added into circulations, things like that, because I used to have those items and they were great items, and I loved them, but unfortunately it's a long story. But part of my issue of why why I left is and why I deleted my save, it was part of a sort of mental healing thing that I wanted to do. I deleted my old save because there were some bad memories linked to it, the fleet carrier, and everything in there. I deleted it, and I knew, yeah, I'm gonna regret losing a lot of the double engineered modules in there, but at the same time, oh well. Not too much of a train smash. If I'm just playing solo, it doesn't really matter too much. But it would be nice to have some of those items back. And of course, we did see, of course, the double-engineered Killborn scanner return, which is actually an item that I really enjoyed for my Type 10. On my Type 10, because it was actually quite nice for their if you have nice long-range quick scan. And one of the great things that you do start doing with the double-engineered Killborn scanners is if you're on an asteroid field and you're scanning pirates and you're shooting them, and if you're doing it quite fast, you're left with moments where you're just sort of sitting like, oh, what do I fucking do now? I don't run out of targets. So you turn to where if you turn to and scan the mining ships in those zones, you may actually find that some of the mining ships in those asteroid fields actually have a bounty. Not a bounty, but a warrant. And that's an important thing to note, is that when you scan someone with a kill warrant scanner, it doesn't take their existing bounty and then it just multiplies it. No, it goes in and does a little algorithm check and goes, okay, what factions are on nearby systems, and then adds them on top of it. So if they're innocent, completely innocent, what will happen is they will get, and if they and if the going thing goes like, okay, this guy is not wanted in any nearby systems, whatever. Well, sometimes it will actually go and say, hey, this person is actually indeed wanted in another system. They have committed a crime somewhere else, and then they go from clean to warrant, which basically means that you can feel free to shoot them. Which is hilarious, because you're sitting there in a mining field, a hazardous resource extraction site, and oh, I could just shoot the mining ships as well. And with having a long range and fast scan kill warrant scanner, that's actually very easy enough to do, because and it will, and even, of course, what was I thinking? Sorry about that. Zoned out of it for a second. Let's get the navigation, yeah. And of course, you could, of course, get those things. It's like fun little things you could do. Of course, if you can have the kill ones kind of long range fast scan, and I personally like to engineer my on a combat ship to have A-rated sensors and have them long range, so I can see what the hell's going on. There's also another reason why I like to use the for fuck's sake, it's another bounty hunter. The problem is of course, the warrant thing actually works both ways, because if a bounty hunter comes and scans me, if a bounty hunter comes at me and doesn't have a kill warrant scanner and just attacks me, they get wanted, and I can turn around and shoot them. But if it's a bounty hunter and they have a kill warrant scanner and they do scan me, then I am become warranted. Then I get warrant, and then I can be shot at with impunity, and no one will come help me, and I will get a further bounty on my head if I should retaliate. So you get in a situation where, yeah, it's a very useful little thing to have the kill ones kind of. Why was that? Of course, like the long range sensors, because then of course I can see what ships are in the system. I can see where's the pirates are, because I've got the extended range, and I can also, of course, easily enough scan them. Especially, I can also scan them and see if they are worth the time, because with a fast scanning, you can easily just scan, and then be done. And I know there's a lot of people who might say, like, oh, there's much better ways to collect credits in the game. It's pointless to do that or whatnot. Yeah, because they use the whatever, I don't know what's the latest grind exploit that they do to create credits these days. Whatever it is, I can tell you it's probably already out of date and not working. But I like to use it when I'm doing bounty hunting, because there's a little bit extra credits on top, and that extra bit of credits usually offsets my playstyle, because I tend to also take a lot of ships that are very ammo dependent, and I also use some unconventional strategies, and I tend to use bi-weaves and hull tanking, because I like fun. I like to be able to fly up to an enemy, ram them to the fucking hell, and Kingdom Come, and blow them to bits. So what if my shields drop? I know my ship's not going to break the second someone looks at it without a shield. I don't need 6,000 shield boosters to compensate for a lack of skill and a ship that will fall apart the moment the shields break, because I properly plan my builds. I didn't just copy-paste the build that was on a YouTube video 10 years ago. So it is quite a violent experience, and in a previous live stream I actually did ram a a dropship, a pirate dropship, whilst I was low on without shields, and yeah, the pirate dropship did die. I was left on 11% hull armor, but I was alive, and I collected my bounty from that, and it paid for the repairs, along with the other people I'd killed in that little bounty hunting sprint. So it does kind of like, but it was of course very exhilarating, and I enjoyed that because I personally am a type of person. My brain is very wired for adrenaline, not dopamine. Less so for dopamine, more for adrenaline, which has actually caused a lot of issues for me in my life, because I'm not a very sporting person, but I do like adrenaline.
Landing gear deployed.
This person saying kills make credits. Just don't fucking scan me whilst I'm landing. I want to get... What's going here? Everything you do in game will give you credits. It's just a matter of how much might as well. Yeah, do what you enjoy. Yeah, great. As you do what you enjoy, because everything generally gives credits. Which is sort of like a... And like for me, actually, why... Instead of just flat out trading, I like to do source and return missions, because they go, okay, you get a couple of them stacked up on top of each other, you get a whole bunch of things, and of course you do a bit of combat, we have trading. And in recent days, I've been trying to push to get my power play rank up, so I can actually get the power play modules. Because I'm incredibly pissed off that they decided to go against everyone's requests to have all the to do all, because they originally had said that, like, oh hey, we're going to make that the power play modules be in a different way away from the power play, because one of the big issues with the power play version 0.1 was the fact that a lot of the people were just joining power play factions so they could get the modules and then leave immediately after they've got them. And they eventually first, like, mentioned, like, okay, we're gonna take this on board, we're gonna listen to this, and then immediately fucking didn't. And they decide, okay, now each player faction, each of the power play factions you get, they will now all give the exact same, all of them. But the problem is, they're still in power play, and you've still got a lot of people just doing shit for the sake of getting the modules and then leaving afterwards. They don't care about the power play factions. And so if I'm sort of in the situation where I want to get power play merits so I can get my power play modules and leave the power play faction afterwards. But all the things... The great thing about, of course, is that on the positive side, if you just do whatever you do in those power play systems, then yes, you get the merits. Like me just now scanning that ship as I'm flying away here, I got a bit of merits. But at the same time, it's not very quick. And for me, it gets a bit frustrating and a bit boring. And the best way I found for me personally to get a good chunk of merits whilst having fun is to be on foot slaughtering settlements. Jasper, ever do on, as just mentioned here, do you ever do on foot theft missions? Well, not theft missions, but I have robbed the entire settlements blind that I have slaughtered, yes. So in a way, I have thefted them. Because as far as anyone's concerned on the logs, the site manager of those settlements suddenly died, and then their access codes shows them disabling the alarms and running around the settlement, killing everyone, pulling the power, pulling everything out of containers, uploading viruses and pulling the power, and then driving away whilst dead. So yeah, I have. I've even live streamed it a couple of times. It's like part of my whole thing where it's like I'm bit throwing a fucking tantrum about this whole thing about me not being allowed to have my modules outside of power play and having to participate in this power play bullshit. Is that I can of course do those, and it is actually quite devastating. A larger devastating amount of undermining it does. And on top of that, there's of course the thing of like constantly shutting down the settlements. I don't just go and grab a specific item, whatnot, or I just don't just fall in there and just upload the virus, grab the power play commodities, and then leave. No, I actually make a point to actually pull the power. I'll first upload all the viruses, loot everything, and because I quite like a looter shooter, even though like all the items and whatnot you get looting out of containers are not worth that much. It's still fun picking up everything, break open people's cupboards and whatnot, grabbing all the items, running off with it, killing everyone there, pulling the power. And of course it also causes a bit of a situation where the background simulation will be fucked as well for whatever player faction currently owns that system. It's like, 10 surface elements have been knocked here, so now the entire system goes into lockdown because they've gone into the background simulation state of my deepest apologies there. They've got into the background simulation state of holy shit, we're being slaughtered here. And I basically, it's like, I'm throwing a tantrum. I want to get this shit over with. And the way I find the most enjoyable fun was also giving a large quantity of merits was going to a station, into a system, killing the people there, getting the merits for killing the people, getting merits for collecting bounties on some of those people as well, because it's important to actually go and scan all those people you kill, even though you're mad murdering slaughterer. I'm completely justified, because you can of course go pull out your scanner, scan the bodies, and occasionally one of them might have an actual bounty on somewhere, and it gives merits. Because hey, you've collected a bounty in an enemy's territory, that gives me merits. That's fantastic. And because I'm I'm probably going to butcher the name. I know that hasn't stopped me ever before. Denton Patreus, Danton Patria will of course give me extra payouts for bounties. Part of the reason why I actually went for the Patreus is of course less cost for ammunition, because I like to use torpedoes, and higher bounty payouts because I like to do pirate hunting, so less money spent on torpedoes killing pirates and more money from killing pirates. Of course, it's a double whammy of fun. So I get and of course I can do those things, and it's actually reasonably fast enough for me to do. I can get 1,000 to 4,000 merits per settlement, and over time I'm getting better at it. I'm getting it to around to an hour to 30 minutes I can spend on one settlement. Yeah, I'm not too concerned about getting all of the power play modules unlocked in 1 week, because I've got 3D modeling to do, I've got a house to clean, I've got to help my mother and father, who are both retired right now. I've got to help them occasionally with things that they need to be doing. I need to water my plants, I need to wash dishes, gotta fucking live life. I've got to go play Kenshi. I quite like Kenshi. It's one of my new favorite games, is playing Kenshi. And I also want to play X4 Foundation. I also want to play Star Conflict. No, it's not. What? Am I mixing up Star Conflict with Star Citizen? No, Star Citizen isn't a game because you can't play it yet. It's still in the PNG stage. So you saw it in this, so you end up in this sort of, but this is double check. Did I pick up the synthetic? Yes, I picked up the synthetic saplings. Thank goodness I clicked the right button.
Please take care when entering this Alliance facility.
I will enter this Alliance facility as hard and fast as I want to. I will enter this Alliance facility as hard and fast as a Imperial citizen would enter an Asting Duval. I'm gonna stop that sentence there before I get too raunchy. And yeah, it is of course again. It is again a sort of situation where, and again, I think power play 2.0 isn't really 2.0. It's the power play 0.2 alpha release, and it's nowhere near ready.
Landing confirmed. Pad restraints engaged.
Which raises the question of what the hell are we doing then, if it's all broken? But at least they're trying. It's a whole. I still will fervently defend that the current power play version 2 is still a lot better and a lot more fun than power play 0.1 was ever. It's just the problem is that it still needs work. It's not. It's very far from being perfect. And there's also that thing is like where they said initially. I remember when they had. They did that thing where, of course, okay, we increased all the prices for everything on the market. All right, fine. And at the same time, it also teased that the top 10 rankings for power play, you would be able to get a couple of bits of bonus arcs every week through that. And it was something like, okay, yeah, if you're in the top 10, you'd get a 400 arcs extra the week, and there you go. And if you were in the top 50, it's like 50 extra arcs a week. It's not much. This is a very small amount, but you know, it's still something nice. But then that was completely absent. And the only real place where we were able to collect arcs through gameplay, other than just the 400 arcs weekly free bunch, was the whole FOMO fest of the Titan bombing. And that was actually the point where I had, when the Titan thing started, that's actually where I actually stopped playing. And when I returned, it's like I had deleted my save and deleted my save, because the whole fiasco with the Thargoid hunting was just so much of a FOMO fest. Fear of missing out for predatory action. It was just ridiculous. And understandably, a lot of people were just like, we don't fucking care anymore. We don't want Thargoid content anymore. It's boring. It's shit. We've been had it up to here. And that was the only time we could get arcs and skins for things we were doing. But it just goes as like, but it all screams of basically of different groups of management pissing and shitting on each other, and a group of employees that are not concerned with the actual product that they're making. Because at the end of the day, it's like, we live in a society. Yes, we're going to that kind of topic. We live in a society. We live in a society where everyone just cares about the paycheck, and no one cares about what they make. And at the same time, we have everyone screaming, I want good service, and I want to see the manager. But at the same time, those exact same people who say, I want to see the manager, I want good service, are the type of people who sit in an office and, man, I don't fucking care about this job, I'll just piss around and collect my paycheck. I don't care if I make a good product or not. And it all comes down to a thing of like, mayhaps what would be better in life if we could just not hurt so many people. because if we don't hurt people, then if we can minimize the amount of people we hurt or the inconvenience, if everyone just tries to, you know, a personal philosophy, if you can just make one person's day better, if you can make one person smile, wouldn't that be better?
4, 3, 2, 1.
And then finally you get to a point where I don't like what I'm doing with the basically going on foot and slaughtering settlements, because ultimately, as far as power play goes, like these power play people really want to do is just endlessly refortify the same two systems. And who am I to stop them from doing that? I remember someone saying, like, "Oh, you're part of Edmund Mahon. You must join the official Discord and whatnot, and you must follow our specific orders for the week." And it's like, no, I don't care. I literally don't care about your power play things. And the best way to get a whole lot of merits is quite detrimental, because it causes a lot of undermining points, and then a whole lot of people have to spend time hauling shitty little reinforcement packages backwards and forwards, or spending time in the system constantly doing bounty hunting, depending on how smart they are actually, because if you are actually quite smart, you can actually do a lot of reinforcing of the system by just bounty hunting, which is a lot more fun. But they'll have to spend a lot of time doing that, and I've basically, in an indirect way, I've griefed them, and that's part of the issue I have with power play. It's like, I don't want to grief people. I want the modules, but I can't have the modules because I need to grief people, and it's the only way out is to get it through the system. And what the fuck? I'm a sort of a let live and live person, and ultimately the power players doesn't seem to be designed for the people who want to play power play, because people who want to play power play, they want to fight other powers. But we've got a whole lot of other people just tagging along because, I want my fucking items. So it ultimately comes down to a thing of it's like, it doesn't feel nice. Like, I would have actually liked to partake in power play via the actual power play leader that has actually got some fucking actual personality and actual character background, and isn't a flat 2D piece of cardboard. And that is Archon Delane, the Pirate King. We just kind of fucked up. I would have loved to be able to, you know, on the sidelines, like, okay, every 2 weeks I'll maybe, like, you know, go into open, I'll fly the colors, and then the next week I'll do my own little thing in solo. But that's not really possible in the current system, because I need the modules, and I play solo, and I just don't like it anymore. And the bonuses that you get for being Archon Delane is just not as nice as, say, for Denton Patrius. And it just creates a sort of situation of, like, what's happening here? What is going on? And of course, you will have the 10,000 billion people who follow Aisling Duval, because, oh my god, it's the blue-haired princess who wants to abolish slavery, whilst she lies in the lap of luxury, getting sucked off by a 1,000 slaves a day. And yeah, and that's just what people had based a lot of their things on, and it's like, well, okay, like in past, before Odyssey was released, and I used to be in a player group that was Aisling Duval aligned, and they were sort of okay, but the problem was, over time, the okay members of this Aisling Duval player group began leaving, And when they began leaving, and new players came in because, oh, it's the Asling Deval group, we want to join in because we want blue waffle. And they were horrible fucking people. And the Discord manager and the group manager basically decided, no, we're going to support these random assholes joining us because we want to push up our numbers and support blue waffle. And I was like, well, I don't fucking like these people. These are literal fucking trolls. Fucking stop them. Do something about it. They're like, yeah, but we can't do anything. And I was like, oh, well, guess what? I left. And over years, I remember occasional player groups as I floated about. Some people actually started recognizing me as I floated about. It's like, hey, you're Sin Karma. You taught me how to play the game. We were in this player group, and you were fantastic. You showed me how to do proper mining. You showed me how to do all these. Oh, let's just double check that before I start ranting here. Synthetic fabrics. I've got it in my inventories. Got it in my inventory. You taught me how to do these things. You took me to the Guardian site and told me how to do the things and got me my booster. I was like, oh, so thank you. Like, what the hell happened? Why did you leave that group? Yeah, well, they were full of fucking assholes. The Discord managers did nothing. I left. Because that's the thing about the internet, is I can just leave. Jasper Lit. I took Mahon just because a lot of our player faction systems are in his territory. Ah, yeah. That's another thing. It's like sort of where people are sort of supporting a specific player group just because they're in that territory. But it's sort of like less important these days because that's of course not a great little bit of addition or change they had done to the power play 0.2 was that, yeah, the power play factions no longer care what groups are, because that was one of the things that kept happening is like some player groups would found themselves, they'd get their player faction, their own name in the game, and then they find out afterwards, oh hey, this and this player group, this and this power play faction is here, and they say no, we're going to squish you out of the way because we want to increase the strength of our power play faction in the sector, and if you're in control, we lose, which is kind of fucked up, which is a whole new level of griefing that happened there. But they said that swapped around, but at the same time, there's still a lot of salty people that's left there. That's at least one good change.
4, 3, 2, 1.
At least many people wondering what the fuck is happening. Excuse me about that, just had to have some coffee.
Warning, Kenshi drive operating beyond safety limits.
I also think that's also the reason why a lot of
Shift drive charging.
player groups have been screaming for, oh, we need people to come back to the game. We want new content coming to the game so that people come back to the game and new players come to the game as well. But actually, they don't want people to come to the game to make the game healthy. No, they want more people to sit in their Discord and do BGS grinding for their faction. And the funny thing is, what happened is like everyone just came back and was like, well, we're fucking making our own groups. And I've been poking around them and just like, you know, see which ones I'll watch what. It's like, okay. Hey guys, can I just hang out here to see how you guys are? Okay, you're good, you're bad, whatnot. Well, I don't fit in here. And like a lot of them I have not fitted in, and I just don't feel comfortable in any of them. And I said, hey, thank you very much for your time. I'm gonna leave. I've luckily not had any bad experiences so far with the power play group, with the new not power play groups, new clans that have been forming recently. A lot of them are really decent people because they're people that have left a lot of the shitty groups to make better groups. And so we go on. Because the great thing about the internet is that Yeah, these are all people that exist in the universe, in the world, and it would be mean to ignore them and run away, but at the same time, if they're being assholes to you, it is the internet, and you can just go, I choose not to. You can block them, you can leave the chat room, you can leave the forum, you can leave the game, you can play another game, you can play another chat room, you can play another Discord, you can go outside, stand in the sun, for fuck's sake. Like, one of the things I've been recently doing is actually putting my camping chair out just outside on my balcony and just sitting in the sun. I don't know. Ultimately, it is actually just for my mental health, because I'm a fervent believer in the mindset of a healthy soul can only exist in a healthy mind, and a healthy mind can only exist in a healthy body, which is a sort of a big driving force for a lot of my personal my personal mindset is that I need to make sure I could get my body healthy. I'm losing weight and getting more fit, and taking walks, getting jogging, playing video games that promote my adrenaline versus dopamine, and doing things like in Elite Dangerous that are more adrenaline based than dopamine based, because as adrenaline and general healthiness makes my body healthier, better functioning, and in that process my brain is healthier, better focusing, and I need a healthy, strong brain to be able to do 3D modeling. Because things like this 3D model I'm using, that I made for myself, and I'm now going to I made to also use as a PNG tuber. It was a lot of effort, a lot of focusing, a lot of grinding of the metaphorical gears in the brain to get produced and assembled. And that is why I like to keep a healthy body. And honestly, at the moment, right now, I'm fucking feeling an extreme lack of adrenaline. I'm falling asleep. I can rapidly feel it right now. The narcolepsy is slipping in. Also, what are we looking at times? Like 141 minutes streaming, but I was actually faffing around with a lot of settings. So we've been streaming for about 1 hour 30 minutes. I'll be honest. Thank you very much for those who have watched along. And in future, those people who are watching the VOD, I don't know if they can see the chat. I don't know. I think there's something wrong with my YouTube. I don't think if I think if once I'm verified and I get money for it, then they'll actually start saving it or not. I'm not sure. I don't know. I fucking don't know. But for those of people who watch in future, thank you very much for watching. I know this has been a bit of a long podcasty sort of live stream. And for those who have watched along, especially those who have talked a lot, 07 to you, Jasper. Person I want to thank, of course, for keeping me company here. Thank you very much. We'll be ending soon. I'll just be dropping off this last load of fabrics here. And we will call it a night. I, of course, be streaming at this sort of time on Saturdays and Sundays. Sort of be how I'm working out my schedule. You can, of course, follow me on Blue Sky to get more accurate updates. And, of course, if you follow me on Blue Sky, you can look at all my free modeling art that I like to post there, and the occasional little bit of a weird little rant or comment I leave on other people's art. Because I do quite like 3D modeling and art and all those things. As well as 3D modeling, gaming, Elite Dangerous, all kinds of things. I'm a social person. Of course, the problem is, of course, also like landing also takes 5 fucking hours. At least it's not as slow as being in a cutter. The disadvantage of flying a cutter is why I didn't actually get the cutter again, even though after restarting my save, I have not unlocked the cutter. I refuse to do so. I am not getting a cutter. I refuse to ever fly that thing fucking again. I am free from it. My account was deleted. I don't have to fly the cutter ever again. Oh, is that if you fly the cutter and try and land it, the amount of fucking time you just spend drifting. I honestly, at one point, I even just started flying the Type 9 for trading. And by extent, also started flying the Corvette for trading, because it's just more enjoyable. It's got so much better control. And when the Type 9 is better and more enjoyable to fly than the oh so luxurious cutter, you know something's gone fucking wrong. But nevertheless, we've actually made quite a bit of interesting little wad of money here. Oh well. How are we looking on a community goal? It probably will take a bit of time to update, but before that is added, of course, we are at top 75%. I will maybe, of course, tomorrow we'll do something a lot better, a lot more enjoyable, a lot more fun. I do not have a outro screen, everyone. I still haven't gotten around. I've got the starting soon in this short break. I want to make one today, but I was a bit busy with other things, unfortunately. Again, I just repeat I know I'm repeating myself there, but thank you very much for watching. We will be disappearing then. I can just... Hello?